live in an era defined by its brutality. From the Middle East to Asia to Africa and Latin America, our challenge as human beings is whether to accept this brutality or to have the courage and determination to take the risks necessary to change it. A year ago, 44 ordinary people from 17 different countries sailed to Gaza in 2 small wooden boats. We did what the world would not do. We broke through the siege of Gaza. Over the last year, the Free Gaza Movement has organized 7 more voyages, successfully arriving to Gaza on 5 separate occasions. Ours remain the only international ships to reach the Gaza Strip in over 42 years. Regardless of Israeli threats or intimidation, Free Gaza volunteers intend to continue sailing unarmed boats to Gaza. Now, more than ever, we need the people of the world to join with us. Join the Free Gaza Movement, the International Solidarity Movement, and the BDS Movement. Join us and other campaigns in the struggle for justice for Palestine. Become part of the resistance. Nowhere is this more necessary than in Palestine. The Gaza Strip is a tiny coastal plain barely 25 miles long, physically severed from the rest of Palestine, and unable to independently support the 1.5 million people who live there in one of the most densely populated places on the planet. 2/3 of Gaza's Palestinians are refugees, driven out of historical Palestine during Israel's founding war in 1948. Over half the population are children. For those who ask, what does Israel want with Gaza? There are answers beyond simple racism. Israel wants to steal the resources of the Gaza Strip. In 1999, British Gas discovered huge natural gas fields more than 1.4 trillion cubic meters large, worth billions of dollars, and directly in Palestinian territorial waters off the coast of Gaza. Israel has already built a diagonal pipeline to siphon off gas from at least one of these fields. If there is an unspoken reason for the siege of Gaza, this is it.
The suspicion is that there is some activity going on in those waters. Of course, you know that there are tremendous natural gas deposits that have been discovered there.
This is one of the major and unacknowledged reasons why Israel attacks Palestinian fishermen and refuses to allow them access to their own waters. Israel maintains effective control of all points of entry and exit to Gaza. Despite closing the illegal settlements in 2005, Israel remains an occupying power in Gaza as in the rest of Palestine. As an occupying power, Israel is responsible for the well-being of the people it occupies and cannot legally impose a blockade, particularly one that collectively punishes the entire population. These are clear crimes, and the Israeli government and military should be prosecuted for them. For the last 3.5 years, the Israeli siege has become increasingly ruthless. Less than 20% of normal trade is allowed into Gaza today. The siege has caused the local economy to collapse, leading to steep increases in unemployment, poverty, and childhood malnutrition rates. Because of Israel's siege, there is little fuel to run Gaza's power plant, so electricity is scarce and intermittent. Without electricity, water and sanitation systems do not function. On March 27, 2008, 2 women in their 70s, a teenage girl, and 2 babies were killed by a flood of sewage in the neighborhood of Nasser. Last year, over 16 billion liters of raw sewage had to be dumped into the sea, turning the Mediterranean into a toilet and creating a public health disaster. Israel has already recreated the worst aspects of the Warsaw Ghetto in Gaza. Transforming this small strip of land into the world's largest open-air prison. And and the humanitarian condition of the 1.5 million men, women, and children illegally incarcerated in Gaza is now at its worst point in the last 42 years of occupation. But there are darker histories waiting in the wings. The terrifying truth is that Israel is pushing the world on a path towards genocide in Palestine. This reality must be forcefully confronted before it's too late. It's now been more than 6 months since the end of Israel's latest assault on the Gaza Strip, which killed over 1,400 Palestinians, including 400 children, and the people of Gaza are still living in rubble. Israel's hermetic closure has created a man-made and deliberately sustained humanitarian catastrophe. The continuing failure of the international community to enforce its own laws and protect the people of Gaza demands that we as private citizens directly take nonviolent action against Israel. We must act because our governments refuse to do so. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is the struggle of two irreconcilable and unequal causes. The struggle of an oppressed people for freedom, justice, and self-determination, pitted against their oppressor's struggle to maintain and expand that domination, all the while stealing the resources of the people they oppress. Under these circumstances, resistance is not only our right, it's a moral imperative. We're asking you for our help. Join the resistance. Join the resistance. Join the resistance.